stotras are, what stotras we are able to select and get some more knowledge in addition to the Vedic knowledge. I felt it's all stotra Makaranda Bodha. I wanted to add Makaranda. It is a Amrutam, sweet. And that sweetness will definitely make us attracted. And stotras are there. Stotras are just hymns which are representing the knowledge that has been imparted by Vedic rishis in our Vedic Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, etc. Entire Vedic literature. It is so big. And moreover, the Veda mantras are not easily understandable, accessible, or highly attractive like stotras, because it requires special training and accent, and all conditions are there for Vedas, Veda mantras. But stotras, anybody can recite any time in very free time. So there are not restrictions for stotra recitations. But whenever you take to a stotra, it is full of communication and knowledge. So so we felt that we should also try to know what extra information or explanations or all that we will be able to get some stotras. So in that series, we have the great distinguished scholar, Dr. Neelakanthan. Professor, we actually had met in Calicut University for some program, and we stayed together, and somehow we got acquainted, got attracted, and he liked, and we also visited. And later on, he became professor of Sanskrit, Sahitya, and also in charge of the Vedic studies of the Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit in Kaladi. And he is also more interested, connected with art also, art, music, dance, and not only Veda, everything. He's all-round scholar. Such eminent scholar is before us to share on Shankara, some knowledge on Shankara and his stotras, that is called Seva Hrudayam and Matru Panchakam. Actually, these two stotras are not much popular, have become popular, are very well known to many people. But Shankara has tried to give a lot of knowledge through stotras, and though Shankaracharya has not commented upon the Vedas directly, but he has given the essence of Vedic knowledge in all his stotras, and they're very popular. And moreover, he is such an organizer, administrator, that the Veda Sampradaya and the Veda Vijnana, Gnana and Vijnana are always available to people attractively. So we'll try to continue this kind of series with one or the other important stotras of Shankara for some time, like Shivananda Lahari, Saundarya Lahari, and later on we can go to other great authors who have also contributed a lot of stotras, and wherein they just try to all on the importance of bhakti, devotion, and ultimately realizing the purpose and the goals of our life. So, Neelakanthan is not only he is great in his Sanskrit, his wife also, Mrs. Srikar Neelakanthan, she is also a wonderful Vedic scholar, Sanskrit scholar. Both of them have been doing a lot of service to the knowledge. And so now today we have got Dr. Neelakanthan to speak on these two important stotras. So I request him to open his talk and enlighten us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I am audible clearly.
Yes.
Okay. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Respected Dr. C.L. Prabhakar, my friend, close friend, and the other organizers of Nadaveda Dhyana Kendra and Waves Bangalore chapter, and the respected audience who are attending the program, my humble pranams to all of you. I am very much delighted as well as honored for getting a chance to interact with all of you and to actually start or inaugurate this special series, Totrabodha series, organized by the Nadaveda Adhyayana Kendra and Waves chapter. I have been associating with Nadaveda Adhyayana Kendra and Waves Bangalore chapter for many years before, and just Prabhagar was remembering those days when we had first, when we met first in the Calicut University for a refresher course, and after that we were in regular contact, and I have great admiration to Mr. Prabhagar and his friends because they are organizing so many programs related to Vedic knowledge, its dissemination, its propagation. And also I remember that I have been honored with the title Vedashri from Waves Bangalore chapter some years before. And I am thankful to Dr. Prabhagar and his friends and organizers for giving me again a chance to be associated with their activities. Now, with the permission of all of you, with pranams to the great Advaita exponent Adi Shankara, I declare that this Stuti-Bodha series is opened. And I hope that in the coming months also, you will be having very fruitful, very informative lectures in this series. Now, I have been requested to speak on the two very important stotras of Shankara, Sri Shankara, Savarya Hridayam and Matru Panchakam. And the peculiarities of these two stotras I have selected for my presentation. These two stotras are to an extent unknown among the stotras of Adi Shankara, or in other words, rarely known. Rarely known. But these two stotras are very important in many respects. Now, Dr. Prabhagar, in his introductory remarks, has pointed out that actually this stotra literature or the stotras is a development of the ideals, visions of Vedic seers. Prabhagar has just remarked that Shankara has not directly commented upon any Vedic text. He has commented upon Vedic Samhitas. He has depended upon Upanishads, major 10 or 12 or 13 Upanishads only. But his mission was centered upon the dissemination of the Vedic ideals, complete Vedic ideals in one way or other. Now we see the early trends of Stuti in the Vedic Samhitas. Stuti is Stotra, praising personal gods. Actually, the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Adi Veda Samhitas, they contain the concept of Godhead, gods. The earliest concept of Godhead, gods, is the personification of natural phenomena like wind, fire, earth, sun, etc. All these are the natural phenomena. And the Vedic seers were giving personification to these natural forces, natural powers, and praising them with Vedic mantras to get their blessing, to get their favor for a smooth living in the world. So we have the god Agni, which is the personification of fire. We have the god Vayu, which is the personification of wind. We have the god Varuna, which is the personification of water or ocean. We have the god Sun, which is the personification of the sun. And after that, many other gods were also conceived by Vedic seers, like Manu, Krodha, etc. And other gods like Rudra, Brahma, etc. emerged later. So the stotras are, the trend of stotras are found in the Vedic mantras, in the eulogy, in the praising of the Vedic gods, mainly the personification of natural forces, natural powers. And the first trend of this kind of personification, this is actually Bhakti, is the first trend of Bhakti cult also. And the first trend, first phase of this trend is worshipping many gods, worshipping many gods. That is what we call in philosophy theism. Theism, personal gods, personification of gods and worshipping them. This is widely seen in the Vedic mantras, Rigveda, Yajurveda, all Vedas. Slowly, in Veda mantras themselves, we meet with an advancement of this concept of many gods, theism. Now, in some advanced portions of Vedas, Rigveda, etc., we find the concept of many gods put together, many gods put together, many godheads put together. In other words, the concept of a collection of gods. We have the concept of Vishvedeva, Vishvedeva, the concept of collection of many gods praised together, glorified together. So this is the next stage of the Stotra, Stuti, theism, Bhakti, found in the Vedic literature, in the Vedas, that we call pantheism. From theism, yet slowly the concept is seen advancing to pantheism, collection of gods, many gods, Vishwe Deva. Still further, we meet with the concept of monotheism. Monotheism. That is mainly found in Vedic mantras themselves, in some advanced portions of Ashtagas or Mandalas, where 3 god heads are conceived, very important, very supreme, and they are adorned, they are praised, they are glorified. Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. That is also seen in the Vedic mantras portions themselves. So when the concept reaches there among the many gods and among the collection of many gods, 3 gods get importance, and they are praised, they are glorified. Mono, one among the many gods. Monotheism, one among the many gods, and that one may be sometimes Brahma, create the power of creation. Maybe sometimes Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu is maintenance. Maybe sometimes Shiva, destruction, samhara. So theism, pantheism, monotheism. Again, in still advanced suktas and mantras of Rigveda and other Vedas, we find the concept of monism also. Monism, ekavadam, impersonal God head, conceiving impersonal Godhead. Not Shiva, not Brahma, not Vishnu, no Nama, Rupa, etc. Nirguna, Nirakara, what we meet with in the Upanishadic passages. That is also seen in some advanced portions of Rigveda. That is, which is called monism, ekavadam. Ekavadam, unqualified concept of unqualified Godhead. That is Brahma, the total energy, the total power of the universe itself. That is conceived by Shankara afterwards in his Prasthanatraya Bhashya, etc. The concept emerged, or the concept described by him as Brahma, the ultimate energy, the ultimate power, which is beyond Nama, Rupa, anything like that. So in the Vedic passages themselves, we find all these trends of Bhakti, Stotra, beginning from theism, many godheads, pantheism, collection of godheads, monotheism, one godhead among the many gods getting important. And then monism, ekavadam. Actually, Shankara's attempt or Shankara's dedicated work, Shankara's life mission, actually Shankara's life work was, like Dr. Prabhakar remarked in the beginning, Shankara has emerged, or he has born, he has taken the avatara in a way to say that word itself, for the upheaval of the spiritual thinking of the whole society of our country at that time. So, Shankara was doing this life mission work in many ways. Now, we can see that in the scheme of Shankara, he has written the Prasthanatraya Bhashyam, very famous. He has written the Prasthanatraya Bhashyam, the commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, commentaries on Dashopanishads, and the commentary on Brahma Sutra, which is called Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Dashopanishad Bhashya, and Bhagavad Gita Bhashya. And commenting on these three very influential texts of spirituality at that time, in the time of Sri Shankara, Shankara was establishing the supreme reality of the concept of highest concept of Brahman, which is actually relevant. We are feeling, experiencing the relevance of Shankara's that kind of highest concept in the time of the pandemic COVID-19. Now we clearly experience that concept, because even personal gods becomes irrelevant in the time of this pandemic. Great temples, very great temples with where personal gods are consecrated, worshipped, like Tirupati or any great temple. There such temples and worship even were blocked by this pandemic, that themselves became irrelevant. But we are wonderstruck. We are wonderfully experiencing the control of some energy, the control of some power over and above all these things, over and above our human sources, human powers, over and above the personal godheads. Now we are experiencing some highest power. Shankara has actually conceived this itself in the name of Brahma, and he has explained the various aspects of Brahma and all other things, Maya, all other we experience in the life, Maya, etc., in the Dashopanishad Bhashya, Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, and Brahma Sutra Bhashya. These are his highest works that contain his highest ideals, the highest ideals. No philosophical thought in the world has emerged even in the 21st century which can surpass this concept of Brahma or concept of Advaita, concept of Brahma and Maya, etc., of Sri Shankara, and even now the dialectical expositions, different kinds of interpretations, dialectical expositions, etc. On this, Shankara's highest philosophy is even now going on, and the whole world academicians and intellectuals and philosophers have accepted Shankara's this highest ideal. At the same time, Shankara has written some works which are related to, which we call generally Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana Granthas means some works that contain highest ideals of this Brahma and Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta, in simple text, like Upadesha Sahasri, Ega Shloki, Dasha Shloki, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhajamodhamade, Samprapte, Sannihite Kale, Nahi Rakshati, Dugrinya Karane. What is the highest Godhead? How you can conceive them? The Bhashyas are, Prasthanatraya Bhashyas are very highly scholarly, highly supported with scholastic explanations, elaborate scholarly backings. So common people cannot enter into that scholarly level. So he has composed some works that are very simply expounding, simply describing these high Vedantic ideals, which are called Prakarana Granthas. Take a shloki. In one shloka, the whole Vedantic ideal is described. Dasha shloki. In 10 shlokas, this Vedantic ideal is described with examples and examples and anecdotes. Shatashloki, 100 shlokas. He can do it in 100 shlokas. He can do it in 10 shlokas. He has done it in one shloka, the whole Vedantic ideal, describing precisely and concisely in one shloka. Such a genius was Sri Shankara. And Upadesha Sahasri. All highest ideals of Vedanta, he simply explains. Nari, Stanabhara, Abhi, Desham, Drishtva, Maga, Moha, Vesham, Edan, Mamsa, Vasadi Vikaram, Manasi Vichintaya, Varam, Varam. Very, very striking examples. Simple, striking examples. The importance of the realizing of the highest ideal, Brahma, the supreme energy as the highest ideal in our life, and all other ideals, Bhakti and qualified gods, qualified Brahman, and everything. Very just below that highest. So many examples he has given, simple, beautiful examples he has given in the Prakarana Granthas. Again, Shankara has written other class of works, which are what we call stotras. Stotras praising individual gods. Qualified gods like Brahma,
they can't
Vishnu,
hear.
Maheshwara, and so many gods that were popular, existing at that time. Shankara's period is generally accepted as 8th century common era. So, it is Shivananda Lahari, Shiva Padadigeshastavam, Vishnu Padadigeshastavam, Kalabhyam, Chudalangirda Shashikalabhyam, Nijatapa Phalabhyam, Bhakteshu Prakatita Phalabhyam Bhavatume, Shivabhyam Astoga Tribhuvana Shivabhyam, Hridi Punarbhavabhyam Anandaspuradanubhavabhyam Nadiriyam. So many stotras, many beautiful stotras on different gods. Ashtakas, Ganesha Ashtaka, Ashtakas, Padadigesha Stotra, Keshadipada Stotra on gods, then Annapurna Stotram, Kashi, Annapurna Stotram on Shakri, female gods. so many Shiva Padadigesham, Arudha, Praudhavega, Pravijita Pavanam, Tungatungam Turangam, Chelam Neelam Basana, Karadala Vilasal, Kanda Udandadanda, Jagadvesha, the Nana Vidhamargapatali, Bhiti, Utabharta, Kurvana, Keta Leelam, Varilasadu Manaka Nane Mamagin, very beautiful stotras. These stotras, and also it is in the writings of Shankara that first we meet with the Shanmata Samanvaya concept. Shanmata Samanvaya concept in theism, in Bhakti cult, for the first time. Before that, I was explaining in the period of Vedas, and after that, there were many godheads, many gods, and Shankara definitely gave a clear form to all these godheads, dividing them into 6, and which is called the Shanmata Samanvaya in theism. That is famous Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, 3. Then other 3, Shakti, female goddess, the female god concept. Then Sauryam, Surya. Then Kaumaram, that is Kumara, god Kumara or Subramanya. So we can understand that these, apart from Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, the most influential theistic godheads, gods in the theistic concept at that time were Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Equally important was Shakti, worshipped in different ways, Saraswati, Lakshmi, different ways, and Sauram, and Surya, and Kumara, Subramanya. Later, after Shankara, so many other gods also emerged that we know. Shasta, so many other gods. Anyhow, it was in Shankara's stotras that first we meet with the Shanmata concept. So what I am trying to explain as an introduction to this Sabarya Hridaya and stotras of Shankara is that actually Shankara was a leader of Renaissance in the spiritual thought of India, in the spiritualism, in the spiritual path of India. He was a great leader of Renaissance. That is why we call him as an avatara, a great leader of Renaissance. Later we see such great personalities in different periods of history, like Vivekananda, another in the modern period, Vivekananda, in different periods. Before that we have Buddha. After the Vedic period, before Shankara, we have Buddha, Sri Buddha, another personality, spiritual personality. After Shankara, many great spiritual leaders, Vivekananda, etc., who are leaders of Renaissance. They have contributed much to the society, putting new ideals in spiritualism, very useful for the strength of mind, of spiritual outlook of the people. So we usually, the scholars who have studied the whole works of Shankara usually observe that Shankara has conceived the society, the whole society of his time, in 3 levels. The society, the whole society in his time in 3 levels. That is very applicable in the modern time also, in all periods of history. 3 levels of people are there. One level those who are highly knowledge, having highest knowledge of all shastras, the capability of high thinking, studying all the scriptures, all the shastras, with the highest mind power, capability of absorbing everything. Then there are in the society middle level people with a middle level of mind, then people with a low level of mindset, intellect. So actually Shankara has conceived the whole society in 3 levels, and he has composed the works for satisfying the spiritual urges of all of these sections of society. The Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Gita Bhashya, and Upanishad Bhashya, the Prasthanatrayas, for those having the highest level of mind setup. The Prakarana Granthas like Upadesha Sahasri and Bhajagovindam, so many Prakarana Granthas that explain the high ideals of Vedanta simply in slogas, verses. That for the middle level people. Middle level means people with the middle level mindset. And the stotras on different gods for the people with still low level mindset. So this is how Shankara has conceived the society and composed different works in for the upheaval of the society, for satisfying the spiritual quest of the people of the society in different ways. Now, regarding Shankara's complete works, I don't know, much research have been done in this respect, and myself also has done great work in this field. Actually, complete works of Shankaracharya, complete works that I have referred to now, all the totally that will come about more than 130, including all the Prasthanatrayas, Prakarana Granthas and Stotras completely. Complete works of Shankaracharya was published from Vani Vilasam Press, Srirangam, Tamil Nadu in 1910 for the first time. As my knowledge goes, before that, a complete edition and publication of the complete works of Shankaracharya has not been done. In 1910, more than 100 years ago, Vani Vilasam Press, Srirangam, Tamil Nadu. The edition was in 20 volumes in dummy 1/8 size. The edition is an authoritative one, and it is almost accepted as a very good edition. 111 years ago, actually. But the edition is not available now, except some sets, complete sets of that edition, rarely found in old libraries or uploaded in the electronic media with modern techniques. The complete publication is not available now. After that, some editions of complete works of Shankaracharya has come out, Samadha publication, etc., which are mere reproductions of Srirangam edition with no any improvements. valuable editions of some separate works of Shankaracharya, like Bhashyas and Prasthanatraya have come out. Naturally, editions of separate works of Shankaracharya has come out, very valuable, very academic editions of separate works of Shankaracharya have come out, many in number after Srirangam edition. But complete works of Shankaracharya after 1910 Srirangam edition, no serious academic, intellectual, serious edition has not come. In 2012, when I was just after my retirement from Shankaracharya University, Kaladi, I worked there as publication director of publication section for 1 or 2 years. At that time, Shankaracharya University has brought out an improved edition of complete works of Shankaracharya. The edition was based on Srirangam edition with the arrangement of works attributed to Shankara in a new way, because we could not do a new edition because typing and proofreading and finalizing all the works again, because more than 130-40 works, again typing and proofreading, it will take about more than 5 years with a group of scholars. So what we decided is, we took the scanned photocopies of the works of Shankara published by Srirangam Press, and then we rearranged them in a particular way and re-edited them in a particular way and published them. The edition was based on the Srirangam edition with the arrangement of works attributed to Sri Shankara, published by Srirangam edition in a new way. Thus we published them in 5 big volumes. 5 big volumes, big in the way more than A4 size, in size more than A4, containing an average of 500 pages in each volume, more than A4, large size. The arrangement of works of Shankaracharya published from Kaladi, Sanskrit University, we rearranged the works and separate contents, list of contents, separate indices, all we prepared. Only thing, the core text we did not retype and include in the edition. So in the 5 volumes, big volumes, it is available from Shankaracharya University, Kaladi, with the picture of attractive, beautiful picture of Shankara. If you put the 5 volumes on the table itself, that itself is an energy giving thing. The first volume, Brahmasutra Shankara Bhashya and Bhashyas on Isha Kena Katha Prasna Upanishads. Second volume, Bhashyas on Mundaga, Mandukya, Aidareya, Taittiriya, Chandogya, and Brihadaranya Upanishads. Third volume, Bhashyas on Nrsimha Tapaniya Upanishads, Viveka Chudamani, Bhashya on Sanasujadiya, Upadesha Sahasri, and Bhashya on Vishnu Sahasranama. Then fourth volume, what we call Prakarana Granthas, Prapanchasara, Hastamalaka Bhashyam, short and long works in words on Vedantic ideals and ethics like Shataslogi, Dashaslogi, Avarokshanubhuti, Atmabodha, etc. 32 in number. Then volume 5, Stotra works attributed to Shankara, including Laharis, Saundara Lahari, Shivananda Lahari, Ananda Lahari, etc. Then Pancharatnas, Ganesha Pancharatnam, Lalita Pancharatnam, etc. Shatakas, Ashtagas, Bhujangas, Padadi Keshas, Keshadi Padas, and all the stotras, about 65 in number. So in this way, we edited the works of Shankara, published in the Srirangam edition. Not only that, the Shankaracharya University Kaladi edition contains an elaborate introduction in English in about 100 pages in the beginning of the first volume by the great scholar Dr. N. V. Nathan, great Advaita scholar and former professor, Department of Sanskrit, University of Madras. 100 pages in English. Very learned introduction. Then this introduction is in the form of a detailed study on the philosophy of Sri Shankara included in the edition. Then in the 5th volume, a very detailed study on the works of Shankara in Sanskrit by a very great scholar, a Acharya now living in Kerala, Professor Vasudevan Poti, or Vasudevan Poti. His study on Shankara in Sanskrit, about 80 pages, that is given in the 5th volume. Then another very important material that is containing in the edition is in the 5th volume. The edition contains in the 5th volume a comprehensive bibliography of the works, editors, and studies on the works of Shankaracharya that has appeared till the date globally in about 100 pages. Complete bibliography on the works of Shankaracharya till appeared till that date, 2012, in 100 pages as the last part of the 5th volume. Myself was the convener of the editorial committee of the editorial board of this edition, which is available from Shankaracharya University Sanskrit Kaladi. After that, again, I, with my own enthusiasm, did some work in the field of Shankara's contributions, and then it was with wonder that I could understand that, I could find out that some works which are very famous as that written by Shankara, very famous, particularly in Kerala, some works are not included in the Srirangam edition. Very important works which are very famous as written by Shankara, they are not seen included in the Srirangam edition. Then for the best example is the famous sloga attributed to Shankara, the universally accepted, universally appreciated, with all devotion and fervor to mother, the concept of mother. There is no such a praise to a mother in any language of the world yet appeared. And I think all of you know that stotra. Astam tavadiyam prasuti samaye durvara shulavyatha nairuchyam tanusoshanam alamayi shayyacha samvalsari ekasyapi garbhabara bharanakleshasya yasya kshamodatum nishkriti unnatopi tanaya tasyai jananyai nama. So devotional, fervor. Astam tavadiyam prasuti samaye durvara shulavyatha. A son, egasyapija garbhabhara bharanakleshasya yasya kshamodadum nishkritim unnatopi tanaya. A son, he may be highly reputed. He may be the president of the country, or the prime minister of the country, or the great spiritual leader, or the great leader of Renaissance, whoever may be, a son highly reputed and dignified, having highly reputed and having dignified status in the society, Unnatopi Tanaya. Such a son, even such a son, is not capable at all for repaying for the debts towards his mother, for the hardships of many kinds she has undertaken to bear him in her womb. Nishkritim, debt, to repay for the debts, debt for the difficulties that a mother has undertaken for consuming a son, maintaining him in her womb for 10 months, then giving birth to him. After that, again 1 year living in secretions and urine of the child for at least 1 year. All these difficulties, how can a son, even he is highly reputed in the society, in highest position in the society, how he can repay this is surely written by Shankara. Only from Shankara's intellect or imaginative power only such a great Madhurstuti will come out, no doubt. A son, though he is highly reputed and dignified, having dignified status in the society, is not capable at all for repaying for the debts toward his mother, for the hardships of many kinds she has undertaken to bear him in her womb, for the troubles she had in the time of pregnancy. Nairutyam, what are the troubles that a woman is having in the time of pregnancy? Severe, in the time of delivery, severe body pain. Severe body pain that is equal to the piercing of the body by a spear. Chulavyatha, in the time of pregnancy, giving birth to the progeny. Nairutyam, Tanusoshanam, other hardships. Nairutyam, lack of appetite. Tanusoshanam, the emaciation of the body becoming Tanu, very without taking proper food, etc. Tanusoshanam, Malamayi Shaya, the lying in the bed and clothes after delivery with full of excreta and urine of the kid for at least 1 year, and for other painful efforts for bringing up the baby in an excellent way. It can be said that this prayer for mother, made eternal and unique by the great Guru Sri Shankara, has no parallel at all in the whole literature yet appeared in various languages in different countries of the world. There is no parallel to this stotra. This rare and unique verse is seen missing in the edition of Shankara's complete works, written, published from Srirangam Press, and also based on that we published the complete works of Shankaracharya from Sanskrit University, Kaladi, later. And in Kerala, there is a stotra work, famous, written by Shankara, and that is Matru Panchakam, 5 slokas praising mother, of which the first verse is what I have now recited, very famous. And there are other 4 verses also, which we don't know whether they are written by Shankara himself or added to the first verse by some other poets, other Shankaracharyas later. Anyhow, Madhur Panchakam is very famous in Kerala tradition. First shloka is Astam Tavadiyam Prasuti Samaye Durvara Shulavyatha Nairutyam Tanashoshanam Malamayi Shayata Sambalsari Egasyapicha Garbhabhara Bharana Kleshasya Yasya Akshamo Dadum Nishkali Munnatopitanaya, that I have recited. Then other 4 slokas, very touching. We cannot say that they are written not by Shankara. Gurukulam upasritya swapnakale tu drishtva yeti samuchitavesham prarudo mam tvamuchayye gurukulamata sarvam prarudatte samaksham tavadi charanayoste madurastu pranamam. Reaching the Gurukula in a very young days, at the age of 5 or 8, he has reached with the Bhagavad Pada. And reaching there, he immediately became sannyasi. He accepted the order of sannyasa. And mother, seeing the child in very young days, in the attire of sannyasi, Yadi, as if in a dream, she cannot believe that this young boy has become sannyasi in a very young age. So it was like a dream for the mother. And seeing him in that attire in very young days in the Gurukula, she began to weep. She began to weep. And all the inmates of the Gurukula began to lament, cry, weep. After they were moved in her, and they began to weep in deep agony or sorrow, seeing the mother's mental agony. Oh mother, I fall down at your feet, who wept for me in my childhood. Second sloka. Nadattam mataste marana samaye toyamaviva Swadhava no deya marana divase shraddha vidhina Najapto mataste marana samaye tarakamanu Agale samprapte mayi guru dayam matara atulam. I was not able to give you a drop of water in your mouth at the time of your last breath. I could not perform the funeral rites in the proper way at the time of your demise. I was not able to chant the Taraka mantra that is usually chanted in the ear. Uttarakam Tarakam, very famous. Taraka mantra in your ears at the time of your death. Oh mother, you bestow upon me unlimited kindness. Mukdamanistvam Nayanam Mameti Rajeti Jiveti Chiram Sutat Ituktavathyastava Vachi Mataha Dadamyaham Tantulameva Shushpa. Oh mother, you in my childhood used to take care of me, saying that you are my most precious gem. That we have our experience, small kids, money, most precious gem. You are my eyes, the most precious indriya of the body of a human being. You are king. We used to attribute or tell young kids, oh, you are Raja, king. You are my eyes. You are my Hridaya. You are my eye. You are king, etc. And in this way, oh mother, you took care of me and brought up me in my childhood. I bow down before your feet. Last mantra. Ambedi तातेति शिवेति तस्मिन् प्रसूतिकाले यदवोच उच्चैः कृष्णेति गोविन्द हरे मुकुन्देत्यहो जननी रजितोऽयमञ्जलि. In the time of delivery, at the time of my birth, the time of delivery, O mother, you with severe pain, severe delivery pain, you are crying loudly, O God Shiva, O God Krishna, O my father, O my mother, O Govinda, O Hare, O Mukunda. In this way, you are crying, you are loudly, without having the power to bear the delivery pain. I bow down before you, O my mother. So these 4 slokas included with the sloka, very famous sloka, Astam Tavadiyam. These 5 slokas are there in the very beautiful Stotra Madhur Panchakam, which is not included in the famous editions that have already appeared. And now I am coming to my most important core part of my lecture, and I am coming to my concluding part of my presentation, that is Sabarya Hridaya. In the same way, I could locate another stotra of Shankara that is called Sabarya Hridaya in some private collections of Tandri family of Kerala. And this is also not included in the complete verse of Shankaracharya. And this is known to Kerala people, but not popular in Kerala. According to my inquiry, research, I could understand that an edition of Sabarya Hridayam has come out many years before from Sri Guruvayur Devaswam with a small Malayalam commentary. But I could not locate that work. But there was a great scholar in Kerala near the place where I am living, Palakkad, Pattambi, Tornur. A great scholar who was a teacher also, Poontottam Shankaranarayanan Nambudiri, guru for all of us. He, some years before, he is no more now, he has passed away. He, many years before, located a transcript of the work of Sabarya Hridayam by Sri Shankara in a Tandri family that contains the text Sabarya Hridayam in 7 slokas. Then a Sanskrit commentary in verse in 35 slokas. And again, a Sanskrit commentary in prose for the whole text. Sabarya Hridayam is only 7 verses. Then the Sanskrit commentary, that is anonymous, no record who is written that, only the commentary is there, 35 slokas. Then Sanskrit commentary in prose, that is the record, it is recorded that it is written by a great scholar, Godavarma Bhattan Tampuran of Kodungalur royal family. Kodungalur royal family is very famous, and the prose commentary is written by Godavarma Bhattan Tampuran. And you see, the most important aspect of this work is what it means, Sabarya. Sabarya means puja. Sabarya puja. Sabarya Hridayam, the secret of, or the philosophical ideal of puja. That is the name of the work in 7 slokas. You see, if we read the 7 slokas, we will, even Sanskrit scholars who are very deep in all Shastras, who are well versed in all Shastras, even they cannot understand any meaning of the 7 slokas. I will recite, I will give an example. No sense we can understand. Maladhatu rasabhidhanametat Prithvi Vadhi Jalatmagam Jaladyam Upahara Vidhana Matra Deve Rasa Evanjali Panchabhuta Sukshma Sabunas Trividho Rasas Sudhamshu Pragrabhischeti Sukhotarei Swarupai Rasabheda Samashti Indurukra Pragrabhi Kevala Vishwarupa Bhogya. In this way, the 7 slokas are written. No sense, highly philosophical, highly tantric philosophy. Then the 35 Sanskrit slokas also, they are also very highly philosophic. We cannot understand any meaning from that also. Then when we come to the prose commentary in Sanskrit only, we get some idea about what Shankara has in his mind writing this Saparyahradaya. You see, actually this is all the aspects of this, there is no time. I have put the, I have edited the Saparyahradayam in Sanskrit with in Devanagari script with English introduction, and the Madhurapanchakam is also included in the last part of that edition, and I have put the edition in the Facebook, in the WhatsApp, and I have given to my friend Prabhakaran, and he will share it to all of you, and you can get a copy from the PDF, and you can just go through all this. This actually contains high tantric philosophy of puja, what we call worship. Actually, what we do in worship, we arrange all things for worship. Rupa, Deepa, Jala, Gandha, Pushpa, all things. And the God is conceived there in the idol, Vigraha. And we chant mantras and we do puja. In Saparyahradayam, it is described that Saparya, actually, Saparya means not doing worship with all these physical things, with all these things collecting Rupa, Deepa, Jala, Gandha, Pushpa, Nivedya, and idol, etc. Nothing is needed. The real philosophy of worship is Manasa Puja. You conceive all these things mentally. You conceive all these things mentally. No physical things are needed. Rupa, Deepa, Jala, Gandha, Pushpa, nothing. Idol of God, nothing needed. You conceive Manasa mentally, you conceive everything, and you do worship. That is the highest philosophy of Tantra. That is what we call the puja. Mepatur Narayana Bhatta has said, as described in Narayaniya, that you needn't go to temple and worship God. If you are real bhakta and if you have real bhakti, God will come to you wherever you worship Him dedicatedly, sincerely, with involvement. Amranam Sannidhalse Satatamapi Pura. Those who are great devotees, God will come and appear before him or her, wherever he or she is. You needn't go to move to the height. This is the highest philosophy. As I have explained in the beginning, this is not accessible to all section of people with all mind setup for those who cannot conceive this highest ideal. The Prakarana Granthas and Stotras are there. But there is a level of philosophy, highest philosophy in Tantra that is explained in Sabarya Hridayam in 7 slokas, which has 35 fancy slokas as commentary, and again fancy prose as commentary by Godavarma Bhattandam. Then I am concluding this talk. Another very important feature of Sabarya Hridayam is that actually every one of you know that there are 2 traditions, two cultural, philosophical, historical traditions in our country, the Vedic and the Tantric. Very, very important, very highly philosophical. Both have distinctive features, distinctive philosophical features, distinctive philosophical ideals. But it is in the period of in the thoughts of Shankara that we first meet with a harmonious synthesis of these divergent currents of philosophical thoughts, Vedic and Tantric. What we now see in temples, etc., as Tantra, what we call is Tantra, it is a synthesis of, it is not pure Tantra or it is not pure Vedic, it is a synthesis of Vedic and Tantric cults, Vedic and Tantric principles. So this Shankara has written very important Tantric works, all of you know, like Saundarya Lahari. He has written commentaries on Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Gita Bhashya, Upanishad Bhashya. Upanishads are the Brahma Sutra and Upanishads are the last parts of Vedic tradition, where the highest principle, what I have explained in the beginning, monism, is definitely explained. So he has accepted that tradition also. He has accepted the Tantric tradition also, and he has effected the harmonious synthesis of these 2 traditions, for which or by which we call him a great leader of spiritual synthesis, spiritual harmony, which later we meet with in other great spiritual leaders like Vivekananda, etc. So the Sabarya Hridayam is a best example for the harmonious blending, harmonious synthesis of the Vedic and Tantric tradition at the time of Sri Shankara. I think I have to stop here. I am very happy because it is now time 1.5 hours now reaching. I am very happy. This is the Sabarya Hridayam, the text, the PDF of which I have sent to my friend Dr. Prabhakar. He will share it to all of you. You can take copies and go through the Sabarya Hridayam, and the Madhur Panchakam is also, my introduction is also there. I am very happy that I have got an opportunity to be with all of you to share some ideas related to Shankara, his intellectual tradition, Stotra works, particularly the 2 stotras, very rarely known, but to be known by all seriously, to be known and studied by all seriously, the Sabarya Hridayam and Madhur Panchakam. Thank you all. If you can.
Thank you so much.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, we'll have some question and answer session if you don't mind.
Definitely. Welcome,
yeah.
welcome.
So everybody please, if you have a question, you can put it in the chat or you can ask.
Was clear, very well, everything clear, very clear?
Yes, very, very wonderful. It is so depth and so very well put in so many angles. Really enjoyed it.
So the net problem, anything like that, everything?
No. Everything was very good. Everything was excellent.
By the grace of God, Shankara.
Yes.
Okay, please continue.
So I wonder if Sri Alek Gajanan Bhatt is online. Are you there, sir?
Okay.
Yeah, so KS Bhatt, sir, you have a question, you can go ahead.
Yeah, just it was very, very nice talk and a lot of insights. You are talking about Manasa Puja. Is it Shiva Manasa Puja you are talking about? Ratnai Kalpita Manasa?
You see, this Manasa Puja was, the concept of Manasa Puja was crept into the philosophy of all sexual. Shiva, Vishnu, Shakti, in all field of worship, this was later crept into. So Shiva Manasa Puja we have, Vishnu Manasa Puja we have, Shakti Manasa Puja we have, and it is the highest philosophy of Tantra. So this is the Tapadya Hridayam is the basic text to where any kind of puja can be done or should be done, or the highest philosophical level of puja is doing it by manasa only, by mind only, not by physical. That is the highest philosophy. Then it is like the Advaita, Chit Shakti emerging to the world Shakti, the universal power. The Chit Shakti becoming one with the universal power. So what is the same as Advaita? All the highest philosophies are all the same because they have some different methods only. So this is the basic principle which was accepted in Shiva worship, Shakti worship, Vishnu worship, in every worship in the highest level of philosophy later. So as you have asked, Shiva Manasa Puja also is the Vishnu Manasa. But it is not easy because we ordinary people, we cannot do that. So by practice, we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Saraswati is there?
So Anna, you can give some remarks on the talk.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful. And I was so much impressed. And moreover, these two stotras I have not personally heard. And now, like Shankara, Nilakanthan. Nilakanthan is also Shankara, but achieved Shankara. Because Siddhikantha became Nilakantha. And then only we have a lot of worship offered to, and temples are built for Nilakanthan, Nilakantha Shiva, and Siddhikantha Shiva. So like that, these two stotras I have not heard, but of course, and in fact, in our Veda Ganga volume 8, we have enlisting of all Sankara Granthas by one of our important students and scholar, L. Subramaniam, and we have, I think, we have published in the 8th volume, wherein he has listed all Prakarana Granthas and Stotra Granthas and all that. For 121, he has enlisted them and given the names of them and all that. But I'm happy that there are some more, 131 or so, as Nilakanthan tells it. So you could say to unearth the number of stotras and works done by Shankara is still an important quest for people. And of course, they start 1910, the Srirangam edition, Vani Vilas. That's a good start. And that has been culminated into 5 volumes. When our Dr. Nilakanthan is the director of the publications of Shankara University himself. So it's really good. And in fact, some time back, we have done seminars on Shankara's works, both in India, at the same time in America also. in Ohio, Columbus, when my boy was there. And for that Sankara's seminar whole day with Ashwath and myself sharing the time whole day, the overflowing crowd from all over, all neighboring states, people had come and they loved Sankara. Similarly, we did also in Indianapolis Hindu Temple, just on Sankara only workshop. And there also we had a lot of it. So to say that Sankara is all in all, and he is the first avatar of Sankara and himself who has done a lot of work. And today again, we have an opportunity to remember the great Acharya, Sankaram, Shankaracharyam, Keshavam, Badarayanam, Sutra Bhashya Krutam Vande Punah Punah. And again, we know that Vinashaya Radbhuto Maheshwara Saiva Sankaracharya Sakshat Kaivalyadayakaha. So if at all we want to Kaivalya, the moksha, Shankara is a wonderful support, a guru. A guru can only lead you the pathway. Agne Nayap Supatha Raye Asman, like Agni, the first God. Guru also is like that. He will only show you the pathway. We have to hold it and proceed and get on that. So like that, we have so many stotras, and so Sankara is a big ocean, and exploration itself takes one's lifetime. But in that context, our Nilakanthan has specified allotted some time to go through the whole thing and brought it out in spite of other subjects which we have to cater. And really it is a divine grace. It is not I, you, or everybody doing it. It is divine grace which operates through the human's intelligentsia, and see that some important contributions are done. People from time to time are being helped to grow spiritualistic apart from the mundane happiness, mundane pleasures. Because Sukha is also a Dukkha. Among 12 Sukhas, Sukha is also taken. That's why Shankara, when Krishna told in Gita, Adhyavanta yeme Sukha Dukkha yonaya yevat. So even Sukha has got Dukkha yoni. But Shankaracharya is trying to remove that Dukkha. What is that Dukkha and all that? So we have got Bhajagovinda Stotram, Nirvana Shatkam. In fact, our Anjaneya Prasad, he has done the Nirvana Shatkam to the drum beats and made it very well and wonderful in his Param band. That was the first experiment he has done, that even the stotras of Sankara and others would be brought to this orchestra, so that there will be more effect and influence on the minds and attraction towards that. And simply recitation is different with the complements, more and more of the modern will be really more. And like that, so Sankaracharya is very great. And I will definitely share these 2 stotras, 7 plus 5, 12 slokas only. But there are Pitta Konchamu Kutaganamu to say in Telugu. Though the bird looks very small in size, its cry will reach longer distances.
Large explanation we have to do. My request is the PDF I have, you can download and get the copy, and you carefully read the introduction and all things I have written there, which will give more insight into the ideas what I have just explained here brief. Is my request.
I think in the next issue of our Vedana Sarita, we'll be having the notes on that and also the text.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Only 12. But see, there are so many things to be unearthed, especially the highest philosophy. And our Nilakanthan has given 3 divisions of people. And Sankara is available for all the 3 categories of people upon the earth.
Yes.
With whoever, whatever they want, at whatever level they could, they have got the high scope.
Yes.
That is really an interesting feature in our Sankara, that he is such a founder of deepest, highest philosophy like Advaita, comes down to the Bala level, so child level, and tries to impress and then attract. Bhajagovinda Stotram is one where he has attracted Govindam Bhaja. You can enjoy all that. Yogaratova, Bhogaratova, Yoga Kova Bhava. You may take to yoga life or bhoga life, but Yasya Chittam Brahmani Ramate Nandati Nandatyeva. 3 times he used the word Nandati, Nandati.
Nandati, Nandatyeva.
Nandatyeva, finish. That is the highest one. You get is completely merged in that. So that is what is our great Sankara. Today we have and today happens to be Phalguna Suddha Purnima, full moon day, a very important concluding day of the whole year, Sarvaranam Samvatsaram. And on this, Neelakantan has inspired our people to turn to Sankara and hold on to the philosophy, advice. And as actually told, Sankara told, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam, Adhuitam Karma Sunushthiyatam, and he says, Mavrutha Vakya Mucharyatam, and Swatmana Sthiyatam. So that's why Atma Bodha, what Atma Bodha has done, he has done in one sentence. Swatmana Sthiyatam. You try to study your own mind, your own self.
Think yourself and stand at your own foot of thinking. Okay.
Yes. So Swatmana Sthiyatam. That is the highest advice. Because we always think of others. If two people meet and they talk about third, fourth people, they never talk about themselves. So they don't. So that's why we have to have that kind of self-introspection, self-study, self-understanding. And all that has been suggested by our Sankara. I'm so happy that we are having an inaugural talk with Sankaracharya's highest philosophy, Tantra tradition and Mantra tradition,
Vedic tradition,
tradition, everything is combined. In fact, we have one beautiful book written by the Tantric tradition of India by an American scholar by name Agehananda Swamiji. See, his name is Ageha. All people are happy with they have got houses, build houses, and keep on increasing their mundane health. But this is a Swamiji happy when he has not got any house at all. Ageha, no Geha at all. So he has written a beautiful Tantric tradition. And I have seen the book long years back. I don't know whether it's available now. The Tantric tradition of India by Gahanand. So like that, we have so many people inspired by Sankara. And in Bangalore, Sankara place, we have conducted a seminar upon the Subhashitas from Sankaracharya, picking up some 3-4 texts. We had about 10 scholars sharing the knowledge on Sankara, Subhashitas only. So like that, we went on trying to explore and understand Sankara and make Sankara as our close by Acharya and friend and counselor. So happier. So I'm very much thankful to Neelakantan who has initiated this. We have another Veda, probably we'll have another Kerala scholar to speak on again Sankara's most important work. Probably
Ravindran, Dr. Ravindran.
You are
Dr. Ravindran.
I think you are Narendra.
Ravindran.
Dr. Ravindran. Dr. Ravindran. Okay, now we can conclude.
I believe in this.
Yes, so Purni, madam, are you there to give a concluding remark?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, please give the vote of thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do this. And the whole program was really beautiful, starting with Veda Kusumanjali by K.S. Bhatt and the invocation by little Ayush and Anish Kalyam. They were so beautiful to listen to that. And to top it off all, I feel really blessed to have listened to Dr. C.M. Neelakantan from Kaladi. I'm pretty new to all this, but it was very great to listen to him talk about the theisms, pantheisms, monotheism, and monism. And then he also started talking a lot about Shankaracharya, which I think I have learned a lot from listening to him. And then the Matruka Panchakam was amazing. I've heard that like maybe once or twice, but I don't know much about it. But today I learned a lot, I think. And Saparya Hrudayam, I've never heard of that. I think these two I can say, as he mentioned, these are hidden gems of hidden gems of Shankaracharya. And I would probably go in and read about the text that he has mentioned. It was amazing. Also, I came to know that Professor Neelakantan has been awarded Vedashri Award from our Nadaveda Adhyayana Kendra. It was nice to know that. And of course, our Guru's concluding remarks were really touching and beautiful. Thank you, Guru Kalyam Prabhakar, for giving me the opportunity. And thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you, Purnima. Wonderful. Thank you all.
Yeah, Purni.